I'd like to demonstrate today is how to make a concentrate, how to classify it on a mineral table or a gold table, and basically what Western Environmental is looking for in a concentrate to purchase. What we've done is just put it through a rock crusher and the rolls. What we're looking for is the next step is to go through a 40 mesh screen. The majority of the material went through the 40 mesh screen without much problems, but if you need to crush rock or granite, typically the rock crusher will break it down with relatively ease for anything under 2-inch size. Screening is critical for when it goes to the gold table that everything is classified to the same consistency. Right now we're using a 40 mesh screen. If it wants to go a little bit stronger for classification, that's fine, but we find that 40 inch is sufficient. What we're running right now is an ore out of Oregon. We only received 4 pounds of this, so we're trying to do our best to get a decent analysis from the ore. I calibrated my table that everything heavier than copper will come from this cup on up. We're not interested in the third cup at this point. It's not to say that the third cup doesn't have value, but to recover that value, a cyanide leach or an acid leach or bromide leach is what would be used on that. We're not doing those type of leaches at our facility. We're only interested in the metallic mineral, that anything heavier than copper. If you have any free gold that goes over as you're doing this classification, just go ahead, and if you'd like us to give you an assay on it, we can. We're more interested in anything heavier than an 8.9 density or above. If you look at the mineral data sheet, you'll see that further down on our web page. The mineral classifications, we found that anything heavier than copper, most of them have a value, and most of those values are in percentages. There could be a lot of gold in those values. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to look like gold. We'll see our sylvanites, our other ores that come out in this here. A lot of it will look like a pyrite. That doesn't bother us. We believe that our process, we can get around the iron, we can get around copper very well. But most of the golds and platinums are bonded to copper or iron. This table here will separate the mineral classifications of magnetics, or at least give us an indication that they're there. We don't see too many magnetics with this ore, but we do have a nice heavy line. I started on this here and my recorder shut off, but we can see the heavy line, and I'll go ahead and fire this off and finish the concentration of this. Like I say, it's only 2,000 grams of material that we received with this. The rest of it was damaged in the mail, and we're just trying to make the most of the smaller sample that we can. Typically, if you would like a quote on purchasing, or for us to purchase your mineral concentrate, we would like you to put it through this process and send us anything heavier than copper, and we would be glad to give you a quote on it. We would like at least 20 pounds to give you an accurate quote. That gives us the ability to analyze it properly and put it all the way through a refining process. So we're paying on the metal that's recoverable, not metal that's seen on just some analytical that has no saleable value, but only shows nice on an analytical. What we would give you is a bid on saleable metal after it's recovered. See here that we do have a decent heavy mineral concentrate that's coming off from this, and a decent separation. We'll take this in, we'll look under a microscope as our next step. We'll take a few pictures of at 60 and 200 power in a microscope. That'll help us to see if we can visually identify the mineral. And how consistent that mineral is. We might have 3 or 4 different minerals in this concentrate that's part of this here, but our job right now is to see what we can identify. We'll also do a mercury test on this, basically just a test tube process where we heat the test tube up and see if we see mercury vapors above the ore line at red heat. The other thing that'll come off there is if we can see a little bit of sulfuric acid or sulfuric residue to see how much of this might be a sulfide. I don't see any magnetics under our magnetic. There's a few right here. They're locked in, but that isn't a significant amount. And And it looks like we're about done.